You see the best in me, the Joker and the Queen. I was upside down from the outside in. You came to the table and you went all in with a single word and a gentle touch. You turned a moment into forever. And
I am a huge fan of CORMAC THOMPSON. Last year I did an analysis of his beautiful cover. Maybe not last year, maybe the year before. Can't remember. His beautiful cover of Empty Chairs at Empty Tables from Les Miserables, which he produced during the lockdowns. If you haven't seen that, please check it out on the channel. But today, we're going to look at CORMAC with his new voice. Yes! I love him so much. Full voice, again connected, but much more breath flowing.
You don't want a mic stand just hanging around.
Keep me where the light is.
Yeah. What's up, everybody? Johan Bester here, your vocal coach from Johannesburg, South Africa. And thank you so much for joining me for this analysis of CORMAC THOMPSON, now singing in his changing voice. His voice did not break. Okay? Nobody's voice breaks. Please, I want to start a club, the No Voice Breaks Club, and I would like you to join me. It's very interesting when a beautiful boy soprano like CORMAC, he was a chorister in a typical treble voice soprano choir in the UK. And that's when I discovered his beautiful cover of Empty Chairs, like I said in the introduction. And then I saw that Chorister of the Year competition they run in the UK and how well he did there. That beautiful, free, easy, natural, high soprano voice of a boy's soprano, which is something just really, really special. A girl of that age, 11, 12, with a similarly beautiful soprano voice, just doesn't sound quite the same as a boy soprano. It is an unspoken, understandable, that's not a term. It is something that cannot be explained for me. You can't put your finger on it. Why is a boy's soprano voice so special? Anyway, as with all boys who go through puberty, the vocal folds lengthen. They are muscles, so like all the muscles grow in the body, arms, legs, everything, so does the vocal folds. And in males, the vocal folds grow way more drastically and get much longer during adolescence. So CORMAC, I searched, but I couldn't find it. CORMAC, if you're watching, or anybody in CORMAC's team, please let me know. How old are you now? When is your birthday? I really searched and couldn't find it, but I think he is now 14, maybe 14 going on 15. And so his voice started to grow, as did his legs. If you're a fan of CORMAC, you will know and you will see in this video clip that, well, not the first one, the second one, you will see that he's quite tall now. So that means his vocal folds has grown a lot, and we can hear it in his sound. So I watched a lot of little short videos that he made about his changing voice, and I love that he says in text on the shorts especially, he says, please send this to other boys who are struggling with a changing voice. Because I've met so many men who are beautifully gifted singers who just stopped singing when their voice changed. Because people tell them, your voice broke, so now you can't sing anymore, which is ridiculous. So he's really seems to be on a bit of a mission to just share with other male singers who go through adolescence what the journey is. So what we're going to do first, before we analyze his cover of the Ed Sheeran song, The Joker and the Queen, we're going to watch a little video that he made talking to Dominic Keys, one of his musician friends who accompanies him on the piano and probably is part of the production team on his recordings, etc., about his changing voice. So let's check that out first.
It's quite weird to hear my treble voice after I've been singing with my new changed voice. I don't know what range it's going to be yet. It changes every week.
And what's it like hearing your treble voice now that you don't sing like that anymore? Do you enjoy the experience, or is it a strange experience?
So it is definitely very strange to hear my old voice. I don't know if I like it or not. But yeah, it's kind of... It's sometimes, there's been a few times where I've like sang in falsetto and just been like, oh, if only I still had it. But yeah, I guess it just happens to everyone. So, well, when my voice when I noticed it started to change properly it was always changing, but there was never a drastic change. It was just my change in my range. So it started like just going down, so I wouldn't be able to reach the top notes anymore. My lower range, I'd like to think that it was going lower, but it wasn't really going lower. I'd always say to people that it was going lower, but it wasn't really. So it's just that the top end was slowly decreasing. And then I started singing alto in the choir. And then one day I was just like, I feel like I should be singing the lower parts because I can sing along with them in the hymns and stuff. So I spoke to the choir guy and he was like, okay, yeah, he heard my voice and he was like, yeah, let's try you out. So I moved to tenor. And then after I started singing tenor for about a week, the alto stuff just all went and it all became falsetto. So I think the fact I was still singing kind of that old alto, not sounding very nice but like raspy, kind of held it there for a while. And then once I stopped singing it and started singing the lower stuff got better and that other stuff just faded away. And then
just want to pause quickly. Did you notice that he keeps saying changing? He never says break. Which is beautiful. And I love how he describes us. It's so real. The way, Cormac's way, I've found since I discovered him, is always been very authentic. It was always very important to him, and it seems like it still is, to just be very real and authentic. He doesn't try to put anything on. He just tells his story. I love that because people can relate to that. He's not trying to pretend that he's some super duper special singer that, didn't go through the stuff that everybody goes through. I love that. I really respect that. And what he said there was, he was telling people for a while, oh, my voice is getting lower, but it wasn't really. He was just losing some of the natural flexibility for the high pitches. Remember that your voice have to lengthen. Your two vocal folds have to lengthen for a high pitch. So he used to be able to sing high G's and A's and A flats and B flats, fives and stuff. I heard him sing those. And that is natural for someone prepubescent. But it does start to change. Like he said, it was always changing, but there was never a drastic change. Okay, that's the other interesting thing that I have found, because I was singing very actively. I sang in a really good youth choir here in South Africa when my voice was changing. And just like him, I also just went, actually there was 1 year in my life in that choir where I went from alto through tenor to the bass lines in 1 year. It was crazy because I knew the alto, tenor and bass lines of every piece of repertoire that my choir sang that year. It was crazy. But I also didn't have a drastic moment. I just gradually lost the tops. And then, like he said, when you try to sing in falsetto, which is then in that range, but now with your longer vocal folds, so it's breathy, it doesn't sound nice and it's not very pleasing. And unfortunately, in my case, I didn't have people around me who really understood the changing voice. So they just said to me, stop it, you can't sing high anymore. So as an adult singer, discovering the truth about how the voice works, I had to relearn, in a sense, or regain the higher end. my ability to sing falsetto and control it and so on. But anyway, when your voice is very active, when you keep the muscles active, as he obviously is doing, that break, I don't even want to say it, but that change isn't so drastic because the muscles are kept flexible. And obviously CORMAC is surrounded by beautiful people who understand his changing voice and works very gently with it. When I coach 11, 12, 13-year-olds, I always say to them and to their parents, we're not going to try and build the muscle until after adolescence, until after the biggest, most drastic phase of adolescence has settled down. So once the vocal folds have lengthened to a point where, okay, this is now probably it in terms of the length, the growth, then we can start developing those new, longer muscles' ability to handle more breath, which is power, volume, and learn to control it. But anyway, let's finish this quick clip.
And for about 3 months, I didn't have any like falsetto or anything, but for the past month or so recently, I've started to develop like quite a nice falsetto, I'd like to think. And my lower end is definitely broadening out more into a baritone range now. And my high notes are becoming less hard. I think it is definitely settling down now. So yeah, and my speaking voice has actually caught up. That's only been literally. To be fair, my speaking voice varies every day. It just
every day.
It varies all the time. Like I listened to a voice note I sent to my friend the other day, and it's like my voice is like like really low. And I'm like, oh jeez, why is my voice that low? And then I listen to like. Now I'd say it's in the middle as I'm speaking right now.
You're so aware.
But sometimes it's like super low. At the moment, most of the time it's about how it is right now. And then sometimes I listen back and I'm like, oh, my voice still sounds kind of high. But it does crack quite a lot as well.
Crack.
Definitely more. I feel like I have to kind of like hold. There's like a little like muscle I kind of hold to not let it crack. I can like make it crack on purpose like this if I don't hold the muscle. So it's quite cool, yeah.
That is so cool. I love that. So yeah, crack is a better word because even adult singers all the time can have cracks in their voice. Not cracks in their voice, cracks in their sound somewhere in their range. Normally where it changes from a chest resonant sound to a head resonant sound. So beautiful. I love that. I smiled because he was laughing at his voice going like that. But please, if you are around young boys who go through this phase, please don't laugh at them when their voice does that. So many men have absolutely stopped singing, and they tell me, people in their 30s and 40s, and they tell me there was a moment, a specific moment that they can remember when they performed on stage at school or something and their voice cracked. Did one of those. And people laughed at them and they just quit singing altogether. That is so tragic and sad to me. So I loved CORMAC's take on his journey here and sharing it, like I said, so honestly and in such a real way, because it's going to help people like him who go through the same thing to understand what's happening and to just be gentle with those muscles as they grow. So now let's get on to this cover that he recently released, or a few months ago, I think 5 months ago or so. Well, let me check. 3 months ago. Okay, this is now the 24th of June, 2024. So 3 months ago, he released this cover of Ed Sheeran featuring Taylor Swift's song, The Joker and the Queen. I didn't know the song. Don't judge me. I went to listen to the original, and it's a lovely song. It's a lovely duet, typical young people's love story type of song. So here's CORMAC THOMPSON at age 14, I would think, singing in his changing, he says changed voice, but I don't think it's fully changed yet. You will notice in the visual, check it out, his larynx, his Adam's apple, doesn't protrude a lot yet, so it's quite smooth still here. So I think his vocal folds haven't stopped growing, because with boys, as the vocal folds grow so much, I mean, it can go from it's very hard to measure, right? But there have been lots of studies done. It can go from 6 millimeters long pre-adolescence. And then in males, it can go up to like 22, 25 millimeters. That's a lot of growth in a very short period of time. So, and then with males, what happens is the larynx actually grows, gets bigger in order to house those longer vocal folds. That's why with men, you can see the larynx normally, and with women, you normally can't, because women's only go from 5, 6 millimeters prepubescent to about 10, 12 millimeters. So it's not such a drastic change. So you can't see the larynx. The larynx isn't as big. So anyway, his voice hasn't finished changing, in my opinion. But let's hear him sing in his changing voice this beautiful song of Ed Sheeran and talk about the sound, how he manages it, the key that he chose for the song, etc.
How was I to know? It's a crazy thing. I showed you my hand, and you still let me win. And who was I to say that this was meant to be? The road that was broken brought us together, and I know you could fall for 1,000 kings and hearts that will give you a diamond ring. When I fold,
Nice.
you see the best in me, the Joker and the Queen.
So lovely. Yeah, so what I always say about treble voices versus change voices in males and females is, if you have a gift in your voice, if you have a beautiful voice as a young child, you will have a beautiful voice as an adult. I mean, it's the same muscles, they just grow, right? During adolescence. And what a beautiful sound he makes. He's being fairly gentle with it, which is exactly what he should do. Again, his vocal coach and the people around him are guiding him beautifully, in my opinion. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. He's singing very gently, so it's not a lot of breath. He's not trying to cause his vocal folds to connect very harshly or very tightly. Also, the song doesn't demand it, obviously, so it's also a musical, artistic choice. But this is quite low. A major. For him to sing in that octave at this stage, it's obviously comfortable, but his vocal folds are quite short. Our vocal folds get shorter when we sing low, right? Even speak low. When the pitch is low, the vocal folds are short. So shorter vocal folds are more flimsy, thicker, not as tight as high, or when you sing high. So they don't want a lot of breath. So you don't want to try and sing very loudly and cause that very solid chord closure when you sing low, especially when it's new territory for the voice. So he's handling it beautifully. And the thing that I just need to mention about CORMAC, and please go and watch my analysis of Empty Chairs, because I explained it and showed it there very, very well. The thing that I applauded so much in that analysis is the breath flows through every sound that he sings. Okay? Think about it. The vowel sounds in songs, the breath naturally flows through, or more naturally. La da da da, what have I become? Whatever the words are, I don't know the song. But that ah, and the oo and the e and all those different vowels, the breath flows through that. But if you are not intentional about your breath flowing through your consonant, the l, the d, the ng, the z, all the other sounds, then people can't hear what you say. They can't hear the words. Right? And in Empty Chairs, brilliantly, he energized every consonant. The ones at the beginnings of words, in between in the phrase, in the middle of the phrase, in between words, and also masterfully at the ends of lines, and he still does that here. There's not a single word so far that I couldn't hear every sound in the word. So he just has very, very beautiful vocal technique. Love that.
I was upside down
Down.
from the outside in.
Can you hear the
You came to the table and you went all in with a single word and a gentle touch. You turned a moment into forever, and I know
bit firmer on the
you could
higher
fall
notes,
for
yeah?
1,000 kings and hearts that would give you a diamond ring. When I fall,
See the long legs?
you see the best in me, the Joker and the Queen.
Let me just stop quickly and say, did you notice how tall his legs have become? And also I noticed how big his hand is on the microphone. It's a little bit the angle of the camera, but it's clear that his hands are way bigger than maybe they were even a year ago. So that for me is an indication, in my experience working with thousands of young people's voices over 33 years. When somebody's feet are tall, their legs are tall, their hands are bigger during adolescence, it probably is an indication that his voice will still grow some more, and he might end up, I don't know, there's never a way to predict this in my experience, but he might end up being a baritone, which is a darker male voice type. The longer your vocal folds, the lower and the darker your sound can be. Right? So a bass, which is the lowest voice type, has really long vocal folds. If you see a man with a really big Adam's apple larynx protruding before he speaks or sings, you should go, I think this is going to be a dark, deep voice. So I think his voice is going to get darker and deeper still. So, but yeah, beautiful. His phrasing is beautiful. He knows where to put the breath. Beautiful. And I think they did well. Just filming him there on the stage with the beautiful lighting, and then a little bit in the studio with the guitarist and the pianist. Beautiful. Guitar solo.
And I know you could fall for 1,000 kings and hearts that would give you a diamond ring. When I fall, you see the best in me, the Joker and the Queen.
Queen.
The Joker and the Queen.
Lovely. I love it. Also, what he's doing here that I haven't heard him do before, because the stuff that I heard of him was all his treble voice, or more the Western art music, what people call classical music stuff, the Ave Maria and all the stuff that he sang in the chorister competition and so on. What he does here, appropriately, because this is a pop song, it's a contemporary song, is he modifies his vowels a little bit, which you don't do in art music. But he does it here, and he does it appropriately, in my opinion. He does it well. It's not too much. He's not trying too hard to make a pop sound. What is a pop sound? It is mainly has to do with the way you treat your vowels. I can't now think of a very good example, but yeah, because I don't know the song that well. But Joker and the Queen, Joker, like that. If it was a classic song, it would have been Joker and the Queen, something like that. Straight vowels. And even the diphthongs, he would have sung them differently. But he does that very well, very appropriate for the genre and very appropriate for where his voice is at. It is beautifully authentic, natural sound. Yeah, I just think it's lovely. And like I said, I'm a huge fan of CORMAC, and you probably are too, which is possibly why you clicked on this video. So yeah, thank you for spending the time with me. It's a little bit longer than I thought it would be, but I really wanted to talk about the changing voice, especially when I saw how CORMAC was sharing his journey about his changing voice, and just try to debunk some myths. Remember, nothing breaks. It just grows very fast. Yeah, thanks again for spending the time with me. I really do appreciate it. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. I'd appreciate it. And until next time, always remember that your voice matters.